The United States government is about to kill the penny, and that's actually amazing news for coin collectors. Because the 3 pennies I'm about to show you are already selling for $10,000, $20,000, even $40,000 at auctions. And the craziest part? They look like absolute junk, scratched, beat up, and pulled straight from a parking lot. Most people toss these coins without a second thought, but if you know exactly what to look for, you could be holding a life-changing coin in your hand right now. Some of these pennies are rare mint errors, some have historical mistakes, and some are one-of-a-kind finds that collectors fight over. Money bag. So don't scroll past your pocket change. You might be sitting on a coin worth more than your car. Let's dive in and see which pennies could make you rich. First up, this news is incredibly satisfying when you realize what it means for the 5 specific 1950 wheat pennies I am about to show you today, because these coins are not just old currency but are actual lottery tickets hiding in plain sight. These specific coins are already selling for a staggering $400,000 at major auctions across the country, proving that the smallest denominations can carry the largest payouts. The craziest part about these 1950 Lincoln wheat pennies is that they do not look like shimmering museum pieces or perfectly preserved treasures kept in a velvet-lined box for decades. Instead, these legendary rarities often look like complete junk, appearing beat up, heavily scratched, and as if they were pulled straight from the oil-stained pavement of a busy parking lot. Most people would see a dark, dirty, or damaged 1950 penny without a mint mark and toss it aside without a second thought. But that is exactly where they make a massive mistake. If you know exactly what to look for, and I am going to show you every secret detail in this video, you could be sitting on a life-changing discovery that most collectors would dream of owning. The 1950 Lincoln wheat penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint carries no mint mark, and while millions were made, a handful of secret errors occurred that turned ordinary copper into pure gold. These coins are often in bad condition with strange colors or off textures that lead the average person to believe the coin is simply corroded or damaged by the elements. However, that bad condition and strange coloration are often the primary indicators that the coin was struck on a wrong planchet or underwent a rare chemical reaction during the minting process. When you find a 1950 penny that looks like a silver dime or has a brassy, yellowish hue, you aren't looking at a dirty coin, but rather a transitional error that is worth more than a luxury home. The hunt for these 1950 Philadelphia pennies is becoming a race against time, because once the penny is officially retired, these treasures will be melted down by the millions by the federal government. You need to check every single jar of change, every old piggy bank, and even the floorboards of your car, because these $400,000 coins are frequently found in the most mundane places. The weight of these specific coins is the first major clue, as a standard 1950 penny should weigh precisely 3.11 grams. But the high-value errors often deviate significantly from this number. I have seen collectors pull these junk coins from bulk bags of wheat since purchased for just a few dollars, only to realize they had secured their financial future with a single find. One of the most valuable versions of this coin is the 1950 penny struck on a silver dime planchet, which gives the coin a smaller diameter and a distinct silver-white color that many mistake for simple wear. Because these coins were struck with the 1950 Lincoln wheat dies meant for copper, the edges are often clipped or the design is cut off, making the coin look broken or defective to the untrained eye. This ugly appearance is actually the hallmark of a genuine mint error that can fetch 6 figures at a specialized auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers. It is almost poetic that a coin the government wants to eliminate is currently one of the most sought-after objects in the world of high-stakes investing and rare collectibles. Beyond the planchet errors, you must also look for the double die variations that occurred in 1950. Where the letters in Liberty or the date itself show a distinct ghosting or thickening. Even if the coin is scratched and has been circulating for 70 years, these structural doubling errors remain visible under a basic magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. A heavily circulated 1950 penny with these specific markings is still a prize that auctioneers are desperate to get their hands on because of the sheer rarity of the Philadelphia strike that year. You have to ignore the surface scratches and the dirt, and instead focus on the underlying architecture of the coin to see the fortune hidden beneath the grime. The market for these coins is exploding right now as investors look for tangible assets that hold their value regardless of what happens to the digital economy or the stock market. Finding one of these 1950 pennies in a junk state is actually an advantage, because it means the coin has a story to tell and hasn't been scrubbed or cleaned, which preserves its authentic numismatic value. I am going to walk you through the specific weights, the metallic compositions, and the visual red flags that indicate you have found a 1950 penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Do not let the government take your pennies back for face value when you could be holding a coin that represents a massive windfall of wealth for you and your family. Every scratch and every bit of wear on a 1950 Philadelphia penny tells a story, and for 5 lucky individuals, those stories ended with a $400,000 payday. This is why it is vital to educate yourself on the bad condition coins that others ignore, as the true value is almost always hidden behind a veil of perceived worthlessness. As we watch the sun set on the era of the American penny, the 1950 wheat cent stands as a titan of the hobby, a symbol of the unexpected riches that can be found in the palm of your hand. Pay close attention to the visual guides I am providing, because the next time you see a beat-up penny in a parking lot, it might just be the 1950 treasure that changes your life forever. Next up. These specific 1951 Lincoln wheat pennies from the Denver Mint are often found in a heavily circulated condition, appearing almost entirely black or dark brown from decades of exposure to the elements and human hands. When you see a coin that is beat up, scratched, and pulled straight from the dirt of a parking lot or the bottom of a greasy cup holder, your first instinct is to assume it is worth exactly 1 cent and nothing more. However, if you know exactly what to look for in these dark and damaged surfaces, you might discover that you are sitting on a life-changing sum of money that could secure your financial future forever. I am going to show you exactly how to identify the secret markers on a black 1951 D penny that distinguish a common coin from a $400,000 masterpiece of numismatic history. The Denver Mint produced a high volume of pennies in 1951, but a very small number of them were struck with a catastrophic error that involves being stamped onto the wrong type of metal planchet. Many of these rare 1951 D errors were accidentally struck on silver dime blanks or experimental alloy discs that were never intended for public circulation, which is why they often turn a strange black or dark gray color over time. Because these coins have spent 70 years traveling through the economy, they have acquired a layer of grime and oxidation that perfectly masks their true identity as a 6-figure rarity. You have to look past the surface damage and the bad condition to find the structural anomalies that indicate the coin was never supposed to exist in the first place. One of the primary things to check on a black or dark 1951 D wheat penny is the weight of the coin, because a standard copper penny should weigh approximately 3.11 grams, while a rare error will be significantly different. If you find a penny that feels unusually light or thin, it is possible that it was struck on a silver planchet or a thin steel blank, which would account for the dark and unusual coloration it has today. Most people overlook these coins because they look ugly or corroded, but in the world of high-stakes coin collecting, that ugliness is often the first clue that you have found a legendary mint mistake. I have seen collectors find these coins in bulk bags of junk wheat cents where the previous owner simply didn't take the time to weigh their dark or damaged specimens. The 1951 D mint mark is located right below the date, and even on a coin that is scratched or beat up you can often see signs of a repunched mint mark, which can add immense value to a circulated coin. While most 1951 D pennies are common, those with a distinct doubling of the D, or those struck on a planchet intended for a foreign country, are the ones that command the $400,000 price tags. The government's plan to kill the penny means that millions of these coins will soon be melted down and lost to history, which makes finding one of these survivors more urgent than ever before. You need to be checking every single 1951 penny you find, regardless of how dirty or black it appears, because the dirt might be protecting a fortune. The craziest part about the numismatic market right now is that there is a massive demand for authentic, circulated errors that show they have been in the wild for decades without being cleaned or altered. A black 1951 D penny that looks like it was pulled from a parking lot has a level of honest wear that many high-end investors actually prefer, because it proves the coin wasn't manufactured by a scammer recently. If you find a coin that looks like junk, do not attempt to clean it or shine it up, because that will immediately destroy the very value that makes it a $400,000 item. The scratches and the beat-up edges are all part of the coin's history, and when combined with a rare minting error, they create a perfect storm of value and scarcity. I am going to guide you through the process of inspecting the L in Liberty and the edges of the wheat stalks on the reverse, because even on a black coin these details can reveal a struck-through error. Sometimes a piece of machinery or a fragment of cloth gets caught in the press and leaves a ghostly impression on the 1951 pennies, which creates a one-of-a-kind look that collectors are desperate to own. The United States government might be ready to move on from the penny, but the collectors with the deep pockets are only just beginning to realize how rare these specific 1951 errors truly are. It is a satisfying irony that a coin labeled as junk by the average person can actually be the most valuable object in an entire city block if it has the right error. The color of a coin is often a byproduct of the environment it was stored in, and a 1951 penny that has turned black may have been sitting in a damp basement or buried in the soil for 50 years. This environmental damage doesn't matter if the coin is a genuine wrong metal error, because the underlying material is what dictates the massive auction price. When you are looking at your 1951 pennies, pay close attention to the rim of the coin, because a partial color error will make the penny look deformed or smashed on one side. Many people throw these deformed coins away thinking they were damaged by a hammer or a train, when in reality they were born that way at the Denver Mint and are worth a literal fortune. We are living in a time where the smallest things can have the biggest impact on our lives, and finding a single 1951 wheat penny could be the catalyst for a complete lifestyle change. You don't need a metal detector or a specialized degree to find these coins. You just need a keen eye and the patience to look through the change that everyone else is ignoring. The $400,000 price point is a reality for those who find the specific transitional alloys that were used during the early 50s when the mint was experimenting with new compositions. Every black circulated penny in your possession should be treated as a potential candidate for this rare category until you have proven otherwise through careful inspection. As the government continues to discuss the end of the penny, the supply of these 1951 wheat cents is only going to decrease as they are pulled from the market by savvy investors. This means that if you have one of these junk-looking coins in your possession right now, you are holding an asset that is appreciating in value every single day. I want you to look at the 5 pennies I am highlighting, because their bad condition is exactly what allowed them to stay hidden in the general population for so long without being spotted. The scratched surfaces and the beat-up details are the camouflage that has kept these $400,000 secrets safe from the public eye for over half a century. The technical specifications of the 1951 strike are very specific, and any deviation in the diameter of the coin is a major red flag that you have found a world-class rarity. If your 1951 penny doesn't fit perfectly in a standard coin slot or looks slightly smaller than its peers, you might have a coin struck on a dime planchet that is worth more than most people earn in a decade. It is truly life-changing to realize that the difference between a common cent and a retirement-level windfall is just a few millimeters of metal and a D mint mark. Do not let the dark color of the coin discourage you, because the darkest coins often have the brightest futures once they are identified by a professional grader. Next up, the 1956 wheat pennies I am about to show you today. As the Treasury makes its final orders for penny blanks, the scarcity of these older vintage coins is projected to skyrocket, making the hunt for high-value survivors a race against time. These specific 1956 pennies, even in a condition that most would call ruin, are already selling for an unbelievable $500,000 at major auctions. The craziest part about this discovery is that these coins look like absolute junk, beat up, scratched, and appearing as if they were pulled straight from the oil-stained pavement of a busy parking lot. Most collectors spend their lives looking for shiny, pristine coins, but the true wealth is hidden in the rusty and dirty 1956 pennies that the average person would throw in the trash. When you find a 1956 penny with that Denver mint mark that looks like it has been through a war zone, you are actually looking at a prime candidate for a massive mint error. These specific rarities often carry a deep, dark oxidation or a rusty hue that masks a wrong planchet error, where the 1956 design was accidentally struck on a foreign coin blank or an experimental alloy. Because these coins have spent decades circulating through the hands of people who didn't know their worth, they have acquired a layer of grime that acts as the perfect camouflage for a $500,000 secret. I am going to show you exactly what to look for on these ugly coins so you can identify if you are sitting on a life-changing fortune before the government pulls them from circulation. The 1950-60 Lincoln Wheat penny is notorious for several high-value errors, but the ones fetching the $500,000 price tags are the transitional metal mistakes that look like dirty, corroded junk. If you find a 1950-60 penny that has an unusual weight, specifically anything significantly lighter or heavier than the standard 3.11 grams, you need to stop what you are doing and protect that coin immediately. A rusty appearance on a 1956 penny is often the result of the copper reacting with an improper metal mixture used during a late-night shift at the Denver Mint. These coins were never supposed to leave the facility, yet a handful made it into the wild and have been waiting in change jars and parking lots for 70 years to be discovered. The beat-up and scratched surface of a circulated 1956D is actually a sign of its authenticity, as many of the most valuable errors known to man were found in pocket change condition. One of the most satisfying things about this hunt is that you don't need a professional laboratory to start. You just need to know the visual red flags that indicate a 1956D is more than just a common scent. Look for the L in Liberty being smashed against the rim, or a D mint mark that appears to be punched twice or tilted at a strange angle. Even if the coin is covered in dirt and looks like it was buried in a garden, these structural errors are the key to a massive payday at a specialized auction house like Heritage or Stack's Bowers. The government's plan to phase out the penny is the ultimate catalyst for the value of these 1956 errors to climb even higher, as the total pool of available coins shrinks every single day. I have seen collectors pull these garbage coins from bulk bags of wheat cents and realize they had just secured their retirement with a single, dirty, 1-cent piece. The coloration of a 1950-60 penny can tell you everything you need to know about its potential value, especially if it has a strange, blackened, or rusty tone that doesn't look like normal copperware. This unusual toning is often a reaction of the metal to a planchet that was contaminated with iron or steel, creating a rarity that is nearly impossible to find in today's market. Most people will see a rusty penny and assume it is just damaged, but for those of us who know the secret, that rust is a sign of a high-value composition error that can fetch $500,000. You must ignore the surface scratches and focus on the weight and the feel of the coin in your hand, as many silver transitional errors from 1956 weigh the same as a dime. The life-changing sum of money you are looking for is hidden behind a layer of 70 years of history and dirt, waiting for the right person to recognize it. As we move closer to a penniless society, the 1950-60 wheat cent stands as one of the last great mysteries of the American Mint, a coin that can be found by anyone with a sharp eye. Do not be discouraged by a coin that looks bad or beat up, because the auction records prove that rarity trumps condition every single time when it comes to major mint errors. I am providing you with the exact blueprint to identify these $500,000 secrets, from the placement of the mint mark to the specific weigh-in procedures you should follow. Every parking lot you walk across and every old couch you clean out is a potential gold mine for the 1950-60 junk penny that could change your life. The government is about to kill the penny, but for you, the 1956 wheat cent is about to become the most valuable thing you've ever found.